surprised you thus far this early in the NFL season, Joe? Beside this recent COVID stuff that we saw last week at the start of week 4, anything else surprise you with the
I would
NFL?
say the quick, well, obviously the Texans letting go of DeAndre Hopkins, I don't understand that. That led to the Arizona Cardinals starting off 2-0 and having a lot better start, although they've stumbled the last couple of weeks, losing to the Lions and losing to the Panthers. I would say also the amount of time that Cam Newton was out and the fact that, he took, less money. I don't think he should have been out that long. What else? There was something in my head that just popped out. We talked about Cam Newton. So yeah, I mean, and I expect the Browns, to do better. So, in that running game without Nick Chubb, I know the coaching staff behind that, so I expect that. What else?
Were you shocked with the Texans firing Bill O'Brien, or that kind of had its time coming?
No, I think that's had its time coming. I mean, listen, Bill O'Brien is a great guy, and it's just like when I talk about Carson Wentz and all the Philadelphia Eagles fans come after me, and now they're starting to settle in, just like the Giants fans did when they were all after me.
They came for you. I know that.
But they came in and they settle in, you know what I'm saying? Because eventually time is a mirror and it shows you exactly the things I've been saying. And whether you learn it a day from now or, 2 years from now, it'll eventually come around. Yeah. So that's why they're not in my mentions anymore. But I'm glad that Carson, here's what I'm trying to say. I'm joking. But what I'm trying to say is that, it's never personal about the player. And I try to keep it about football. You know what I'm saying? If people are talking about things that they don't like within a team and they come to me, I don't do those reports often, but I'm trying to also give you an accurate picture about what's going on inside. And so when things fall apart, then it shouldn't be a shock because I was trying to show you what was coming based on the things that I was hearing. And I use my discernment to try and determine if things I feel are at a certain pitch that it is credible to then now report it. And that's, the 15 years or whatever, 20 years experience coming through that to, let you know. But you were asking about what team, the Texans. So yes, the same thing. It's not personal with, Bill. I think he's a great guy. I think he knows a lot more football than anyone, the three of us. But, I think there's some questions to be asked, in terms of how the team was managed and to what degree did anything, personal influence, some of those decisions, or the fact that maybe he had too much on his plate. But look, we all have to take stock. I'm taking stock. I'm no better than him. I'm in the same, you know what I'm saying? So it's not personal. I'm just relaying the things that I see, just like we do in this business.
Is there any concern on your end with COVID and what we saw in the past week with the Titans, Cam Newton? Is there any concern that COVID can become more rampant? And
absolutely, of course, because testing is not prevention. Hello.
Yeah.
Testing is not prevention. So when it first happened, everyone was like, "We need to test." Well, actually, yes and no, because if you're sick, you go to the hospital, and they can tell you if you have COVID or not or what have you, and regardless of whether you have it. How much is that really changing, in terms of what they're giving you? You can have some of these treatment drugs, sure. All I'm saying is it's not taking away whether you have it or not.
Right.
So if you have it and you're that severe, you need to go to the hospital, go to the hospital. The test didn't change that. And so what I'm trying to say is the reason why that's important is because the constant testing also can give you a false sense of security. You can test negative for 5 straight days and still be carrying. Okay. So, then people what happens to the people that do one test and then they go about thinking, and then they go and go tongue kiss, LaQuisha, and they think that they're good and they got COVID. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is,
why had to be LaQuisha?
That's what I was like.
I mean, if we got a podcast listener named
the
LaQuisha, she's
virus
gonna be so
can
mad.
filter through these NFL teams because you can be walking around testing negative, and you have it. And no matter how many tests you take, it has nothing to do with what you did with LaQuisha last night.
Shout out to LaQuisha. Are players concerned though, Joe? When you talk to the players, are they concerned about this? As the season goes on.
I think the players that were concerned opted out. and the players that want to play and you need to get this check because players get their checks every game. That's it's divided into 17 for the bye week and the 16 games. And so every time you play, you're gonna get a check. So people need out here need to pay some of these bills, because during the off season the money is not the same. And so it depends on how you're managing your money. But I think the people that are out there want to play. And if they don't want to play, they have the option of not playing. No one's forcing them to play football. So if you don't want to play and it bothers you that much, that's why they gave you these opt-out options before the season started. And or even if something's changing now because you see these outbreaks, you want to go to your team and say, this, that, and the third, you have options to do that.
Josina, I've been trying to get Dexter to hand in his Jet fan card, and he won't do it. Now, I was a Jet fan until 2015, and I was like, all right, I'm good, or 2016, whenever it was. Dexter has not yet followed suit. He's still holding on, and I think inside it's killing him, and he's miserable, and he's shaking his head denying it now. But I just want to know, where do you stand on this? Do you think he should just give it up on Sam Darnold, on the organization, and just live a happy life from here on out?
Let me say this real quick. Josina, how long you know me? You ever heard me talk to you about the Jets?
Actually, I don't even. I don't. I guess I wasn't paying attention. Do you talk about the Jets?
No.
Okay. That's okay.
Is there anything for us to ever talk about with the Jets?
No.
Yep. There we go.
They've beaten it out of you. This is what I'm saying. It's like the Knicks with you. They just beating it out of you.
I will say this. I don't like to cap people's capabilities. So, stuff ain't working right now for Sam Darnold. Does he have, certain excuses? Absolutely. I mean, he's had a lot of change, so you can go that route. The unfortunate thing about the NFL is like what I said about Carson Wentz. It's not that I don't think he can do it. It's not that I don't think he has fight. It's just that fight and that talent has to produce wins. That's the only thing. So it's not, doesn't mean you can't do it 4 years from now. Doesn't mean you don't have the talent to do it. It's just that people's jobs are dependent on certain things now, and people need wins now, and that's just the nature of the beast. With that being said, I do think that the Jets organization needs to take a very strong look at, leadership right now and make a decision, particularly if it continues to go down this road. I think one more game, and I think, they would be justified in taking a wholesale look at what it is that they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, 0-5, and you're, what I'm saying? I mean, how many more losses are you going to take? How many losses would other people get? I know people hate when I say that, but that's just the reality. People come to me every time I say that, but it's just like, at some point, how many losses is enough? What is the threshold for when you decide to make, a change? And is that threshold, applicable across the board? I know that as you stack seasons, things change. And you also have to ask yourself, what direction would you go if that, coach wasn't there? And I think that's a fair question too. And then that also creates more change for Sam Darnold, which I think is another fair, thing too. But man, it's really rough over there right now. I feel bad, for the players too, because it impacts their livelihoods as well.
Yeah, and outside of Denver, it's also been the way that they've lost too, because I mean, it's been just like they've just been getting their ass whooped the first 3 games of the season. And I also think, and me and Dexter talk about this like jokingly and stuff, but we both believe that the problem is not necessarily Sam Darnold so much as it's just the Jets, just everything organizationally from the top on down. I don't think we talk about that enough in sports, but that's another discussion for another day about how just the organization could affect all the players.
On where you go, but but at the same time, Sam is the leader, and you have to take some of that, on his shoulders
for sure.
Baker Mayfield, just like Baker Mayfield does, just like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, some of these guys who have made certain things work. So you have to find a way.